you got some lipstick.
Oh my God,
on
I
your
love
teeth.
you. Thank you.
Sorry.
Always.
Do I have any?
No, I tell you.
Finger in and then pull it
To
out.
be honest. Okay, sorry.
This is Addicts Having Coffee, episode 6.
Woo!
That
Sorry.
is amazing.
Hi, guys, and welcome to Addicts Having Coffee with me, Tony Quinn, where we talk addiction, recovery, and everything in between. And today I am so super excited to have Pavi with us. Welcome, Pavi.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. I met Pavi at a halfway house quite a while ago, and I've seen the incredible work in recovery and in recovery spaces that you do. And that's honestly one of the reasons I've just always wanted to have you on this couch and hear your story. So thank you so much for just giving us the time and for being here. And another thing, just before we start, just so you know, and I say it to every guest, before we start telling our stories, if there's anything you are uncomfortable with, any question you don't want to answer, certain topics you don't want to touch on, just tell me, we move on quickly because your comfort is number one in this space.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Thank you for that. Thank you for creating a safe space for me. No, I'm pretty much an open book. Eh?
Awesome.
I'm like I, authenticity is one of the values I try and live by. It's something I really, I try and part of that is just being honest and being real and being, because maybe my story or my truth might connect with somebody else. So I'm pretty much an open
Yay.
book. I'm like, I'm pretty much an open book. Yeah.
That's
you
it.
can go there. You can go wherever.
I'm a go there, Pavi.
Yeah,
I will
you
go
can
there.
go there.
No, I'm really excited to hear your story, and I've heard parts of your story before, but I really am so excited to sit down and hear everything, and everything, every little detail. No, I'm joking. No, I'm really excited to hear your story, and I know you're going to help a lot of people. I really do. When it comes to addiction, I think the best place to start is from the beginning. It gives us insight into, how we got to where we got to and the choices we made, or sometimes no choice. So, yeah.
Okay. So in the beginning.
Childhood.
Yes. Okay. Let me just put that down there. So, yeah. I mean, I grew up in a small town. It was really like a one-horse town, and it's like a small Indian community. And my parents had moved from Durban. They were just trying to build themselves up. We didn't really have family around us and stuff. And so yeah, and I mean, I attended the school there, and I think what. And I really have reflected on this, it's like I was really like a depressed child. like I was really depressed, and I mean, I don't want to like completely psychoanalyze myself, but I can see how I never felt like I belonged, whether it was in my family, whether it was at school. I was so sensitive, like extremely, if I just saw something sad, I'd like burst into tears, and I used to hate that about myself. I'm like, why do you cry so much? I just felt so deeply, and I was very much a introvert.
Yes.
Very much an introvert. And they talk about like family roles, like what role do you play? And I think for me, the first time I thought I could belong somewhere was when when I was with my cousins and stuff, and they were like making jokes, and then I saw they got attention, and I'm like, I want that.
Yep.
I want that attention, so I became like the clown.
Relatable. So
I
relatable.
became the clown. And if you look at family dynamics, it's it's like you get the lonely child, the hero, and I was the clown.
Yeah.
The clown, the one that just try to like settle everything, and and just wanted to make people happy, you know. Thought it was my responsibility
Yes.
in the family dynamic to calm things down. So I'd always be joking. I'd always try to make my mother laugh, and my it turns out, I mean, look, just like full disclosure, like I love my parents. You know, they did the best they could with what they had.
Yes.
You know, but I really believe that, you know, in certain, you know, I feel like it's like generational trauma and stuff that gets passed down, and you know, they did the best they had. And but my mother, I experienced her as like very depressed,
Yeah.
very depressed. And my dad, you know, emotionally unavailable, worked a lot. And you know, I have a brother, an older brother. He's 7 years older than me, and we are very close. And but it was like I always, it's like I thought I had to fix
Yes.
my mother. You know, I thought I had to like parent her, and it was my responsibility. And then my dad, I was just like, I don't know how I can get this guy's attention.
Yeah.
You know, maybe if I do well in school, you know. And that was something that I tried, you know. And I'd like to say I was an overachiever, but I wasn't.
Did you try to be an
I
overachiever?
tried to be, and I failed abysmally. And but like I just wanted him to see me, you know. And I think I just never felt seen.
Yes.
I felt like this invisible child. And you know, my mother also, you know, her focus was on my dad. You know, it's like I wanted his validation, and so did she. So it was like this codependent dynamic. And here I am in the middle. They have their issues, I'm in the middle, like feeling invisible, trying to find my place. And you know, I thought sense of humor, becoming, it taught me how to become a world-class people pleaser.
It always does.
You know, boundaries, what's that? And you know, and that's kind of like how my kind of like identity started forming. And and in school I was, you know, because I was just so awkward. And I just didn't know, I just lacked, it's like there was no self-esteem. I struggled socially. You know, I think when I came into recovery as well, I struggled. I had social anxiety, you know. So I just used to be quiet. I just didn't want to be seen. I didn't want to, you know, because for me it's like, okay, if you're being seen, then that means, you know, they can see you and they could hurt you.
Yes.
You know. And so I just try to be invisible and just kind of mind my own business. I was very like alone. Like I think I had like one friend in primary school. And so you know, this was, I always felt like tormented in my skin, though. You know, I just felt so uncomfortable. I don't feel like I belonged. I felt invisible. I had these needs. I just didn't know. This was just so messed up, you know. And I did find comfort. The only thing I found comfort in was my dog. I would always be outside with the dog, and I'd never want to go home, you know. And my mother would have to call me and be like, "Come, it's getting dark," you know. I just wanted to be with my dog. My dog.
What was your dog's name?
My
Tell us
dog
about
was
your dog.
my dog was my safe place.
Yeah.
I had a little Maltese poodle,
Aw.
and his name was Spotty, but I used to call him Spooty.
Spooty, I love Spooty.
And I'd be like, Spooty, come eat your food. You know, and I always found comfort in like pets and in nature. I was always out there.
Because they're not judging you and they're not hurting you.
And it's unconditional
Yeah.
love. I don't need to perform. I don't need to do anything,
Yeah.
you know. And so that was kind of like a safe place for me. And I loved animals. I wanted to actually become a vet. Because I just wanted to, so I had that, like, I want to help, you know, and I love animals, so I want to be a vet, you know. And yeah, and so, you know, how the addiction started was, so I was 13. And I was severely bullied.
Yeah.
because I was an easy target. I was quiet, and every day was like a survival. It's like,
Really
oh, please
tough.
don't see me. Like, please let me hide. And it was, I felt very lonely. I had like one friend who was in another class. So it was really quite painful, actually.
I can feel that pain. There's not like, we talk about bullying and things like that, but that has a long lasting effects, and especially if you're quiet and you're too scared to even say something to
Yeah.
someone about what's going on, and you hold it in. And I just want to also just touch on one more thing before we get to that. You said, I really related to this, how you were a sensitive child. When I was young, I was the same, but I kept getting told how sensitive I was. And it was like, stop being so sensitive,
Yes.
stop being so sensitive.
Shamed. You were shamed.
Exactly. Like your tears, hide them.
Yeah.
Or what you're feeling for other people, hide them. Or you're an old soul. You're an old soul because you have emotions.
Yeah.
And it felt like something I didn't want. And then came class clown. And it was like this, it's like what you described to me, I so get. It's like this difference between being invisible but wanting to please people, and you take on like this character or this role that calms situations in a very like kind of walk on eggshells environment. So I just want to say thank you for sharing that. I really related to that. And then that it makes you a prime kind of target for bullying, which is something that I think affects a lot more people than we know.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, no, thank you. And yeah, and I mean, I just wanna, I just wanted to like highlight that. So the family dynamic wasn't that great. So I felt invisible at home. I went to school. I was like hiding, trying to hide. So like both was extremely. I was like in survival mode.
Yes.
And very like depressed, at the same time. And so, and this is something like I like how my addiction started. It wasn't like the usual, oh, let me experiment, let me join the cool
The rebel
crowd, the
crowd.
rebels,
Yeah.
because I was so isolated, right? And I had like one friend who was good, was
Yeah.
a good person, didn't do all of those things. So my introduction, and I really do want to bring like some awareness to this, was my drug dealer was a doctor.
Yeah.
You know, I was 13. I had really bad menstruation cramps, which they could have given me a number of things like Brufen or something, but I got given a Schedule 5 painkiller
At 13.
at 13.
I'm just going to let that settle for everyone. Yeah. Yeah. And I can
Yeah.
imagine what that made you feel like. The first time you actually took it, probably. I can actually imagine it. At 13, I mean, even now, like something like that is something I wouldn't even touch in my recovery now, knowing where I am. Back then, I have seen grown women, I have seen grown men get taken down by prescribed medication that is unmonitored, that is obviously there's certain situations where people require medication, but when you're young, you're vulnerable, you're 13 years old, and you have nowhere to put what you're feeling, and you don't want to feel. It's like literally handing you a gun.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay, sorry. Continue.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I mean, that was me, that was like, wow, I feel nothing. They were bullying me, there was chaos at home. I'm like, I feel nothing. This is amazing. Like I was like, this is my solution. I remember thinking like, if I have this, I can get through life.
How many did they give you? Did they give you for every month or?
you, I can tell you. I mean, it's actually quite outrageous if I think if I tell you like how this developed, But yeah, so I mean that was the first time. It took away all my emotions, and like eventually I was like, well, I need more of this.
Yeah.
I don't even know what was the thing that I was getting addicted to, I just knew I needed more.
Yeah.
I needed more. And I think that is where my addict was born, because it was like then the lies, then it was like I need to start lying, I need to start manipulating because I need this to get through my life.
And you figure that out at 13.
I figured it out at
Yeah.
13. You know, and like I would lie. I mean, it's actually ridiculous if I think about it now. Like I'd be like, "Oh, it's for my mother, it's for my grandmother, it's for whatever." And like and I mean, the absurd thing is that this carried on for 2 years.
And the prescriptions got handed out to you no matter what. That is terrifying. That is actually terrifying.
And so I was addicted obviously after 2 years, and
And that's a physical addiction. I just want to
Yes.
preface, like, that is dependency, especially, I don't know if it was codeine or...
Codeine.
That is one of the most dangerous substances to even get off, to even come off. So at 13 years old, you were addicted to codeine, and this was getting handed to you by a medical professional. Okay. I can't imagine how that progressed. I can't even imagine.
Yeah, like I mean, obviously now I'm like when I reflect as an adult, I'm like, what the, this is still horrendous. This was my life, you know, and so you know the thing was I didn't even know I was like addicted to codeine, you know, and then after 2 years I think he got scared and he was like, I'm not giving you this anymore. And
It's even more
so-
dangerous. That's
Yeah.
even more dangerous.
He's like, I don't know, he got scared, I don't know, and then he
Yeah.
stopped, you know, and then I had to use my addict skills, and then and I started going to a pharmacy, and I'm like, okay, let me try that and that and that and that to give me the same feeling,
Yeah.
and then I figured out, okay, it's codeine. Codeine is what I need.
That is. And then you started getting it from other doctors? or
Like over the counter.
over the counter
Yeah.
kind of a
Before
codeine?
it was like, I think now they do like flag it and stuff. But I mean, I'm an addict.
No, I remember.
I can like maneuver around that.
I
you know?
remember at that time, and because me and Pavi are exactly the same age. It's like I remember being able to go into a pharmacy and get Thins, which was essentially a ephedrine,
Yeah.
and you could just get that over the counter, and that's what I started taking in high school, and it was very accessible and also kind of easy to hide. In a way, no one's going to notice this 13-year-old kid. You're just sad, or you're just tired, or you just she's a little bit out of it, or she's just sensitive.
Yeah.
You know, you know.
Like, oh great, you're not crying anymore. Wonderful.
Oh yes, yeah, that's gone now. That's gone now.
gone.
She's very well established.
Yes.
She's got her emotion in check. That is devastating. So you figured out what would work for you pharmaceutically in high school. How were your relationships around you affected? Do you even remember?
No, like I said, it was, I think, you know, like I said, I love my parents. They did the best they could with what they had. I think they could see, but I think they were just like caught up in their own stuff that they didn't think it was a problem, you know, because I was hiding it, you
Yeah.
know. But and they thought like, I don't know. I don't know what they thought. They
Yeah.
didn't realize it was a problem
They don't
until
want
it
to,
was
yeah.
a problem.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was legal, as they say. So they didn't see it as a problem.
And I'm sure you didn't either, if it's
No,
legal. That's
no.
the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just like, you know, my solution. It's my solution. You know, it was so painful just to be in my skin that relief from it was
Yeah.
what I chased.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah, and I mean, it was. I mean, before that, though. I mean, I don't want to go too much into detail, but I did experience like trauma,
Yes.
right? And you know, they talk about like small T trauma, and I mean, growing up in an environment where there's emotionally unavailable, that is actually traumatic.
Of
you
course
know?
it's traumatic.
That's
yeah.
they call it small T trauma, and then there's the big one, the big T trauma, like whatever, you know, the ones that we hear about, and but I mean, it's all trauma.
Exactly, it's all relative.
It's
Yeah.
all goes handy. It doesn't have to be something big. It can be something
Exactly.
small, And so yeah, I mean, and it happened to me around the same age.
Yeah.
So that's, I'm not saying like trauma causes addiction, but it definitely, it's a springboard for it.
I feel like
It's a springboard.
sometimes addiction is a symptom of, you might disagree with me, but is a symptom of a greater trauma. Like, I feel like you said, I've never heard of the concept of small T and big T. That's super interesting. I'm going to look into that, like, for real. But again, I feel like if someone's watching this, it's so important you brought that up. It doesn't matter what the trauma looks like. It's relative. It's to the person and how the person copes with that trauma. So two people can go through the exact same kind of trauma, and it's the coping around it and the help offered around it that informs like kind of actions and how you deal with it. So no matter what the trauma is, it is a springboard. It can be, not for everyone, but it can be for someone who is struggling and doesn't have the resources or the help around them or the ability to say, I need help, to find themselves down a path where you seek a solution and the solution is dangerous.
Yeah, I think, and I wanna, like, this is coming to mind. Like, I don't know if you know Gabo Mate.
I love
I
Gabo
love him.
Mate.
You know,
That's my man.
And you know what? And what he says, it's not the actual trauma. It's like what you do as a
Yes.
result of the trauma.
Yes.
And he put it in a way which I could so identify. Somebody was sharing. He was interviewing someone, and she was like, "No, I went through this experience, and then this sexual trauma." And he was like, "Okay, and who did you tell?" And she's like, "No, I didn't tell anyone. I don't want to bother my parents." And he's like, "That's the trauma." Thinking that you can't tell anyone. That's the trauma.
That's it.
And so it was the same. I felt like I couldn't tell anyone, and then I don't want to bother my parents. So and it was just, I just carried it.
Yeah.
I suppressed it. I denied it. I put more drugs on top of it.
You numbed it.
I numbed it. And yeah, my relationships, I started getting quite rebellious. So I tried to get my dad's validation, and I'm like, no, if I get good grades, he's gonna validate me. And he was just like, oh, you can do so much better. And I think in that moment, it was like a turning point for me, where I was like, okay, I am never trying again with you. I am never gonna be enough for you. And that's where that wound came from, that feeling of just never being enough.
Yeah.
And I was like, fine, I'm gonna like completely rebel against you.
Relatable.
It's like, okay, if you're not gonna give me good attention, you're gonna give me some attention.
Yeah.
Bad attention.
You're going to know I'm here.
You're gonna know.
Yeah.
You're gonna see me.
Yeah.
And I mean, then I started, so the pills became like a gateway.
Yeah.
I mean, they were like horrible.
Yeah.
They were quite hectic on its own. But I mean, when you're on a mood or mind altering substance, your inhibitions are
Lower.
completely lowered. You
Yeah.
know, you do things you never thought you'd do. You
Yeah.
become somebody you never thought you would. And so yeah, the rebellious teenager was born. And like, I was bunking school. I didn't give a damn about my grades. I found the wrong crowd. I found them, and I was like, and the connection was, hey, let's try this. But I always kept my pill addiction like a secret. It was weird, but it's like, but let's connect on alcohol, or let's connect on something else. But it was like, my pill addiction was like my little dirty little secret,
I get it.
and nobody had to know about it. And so I connected with these different people on that level. That's how I started connecting, like, let's do this, let's drink, let's bunk school, let's whatever. And then I think, I got introduced to my next drug, which was a guy.
Of course. Yeah.
I think as an addict, anything outside of myself that gives me relief from what I'm feeling, I will use in excess.
Yes, and that can look like people. I absolutely get it. Absolutely. So thank you for sharing that, because there's the sense of codependency, love, or it goes hand in hand, and it is a process kind of addiction. And I can see how after everything you've been through, you are consistently looking for some sort of validation from someone to say, I see you.
Yes.
I see you. And someone gives that to you. That's a drug itself.
That was a
Yeah.
drug. That was my drug.
Yeah.
I was gone. I have to like even sometimes think, what came first, the drugs or that?
Yeah.
Because they both developed at the same
Yeah.
time, you know. So I was 15, hanging out with people I shouldn't be hanging out with, and met this guy, you know, bad boy. He had tattoos. He was older. He had a bike. He was handsome. He had muscles.
I'm looking at all of you.
know? And I was like, that was me. I'm like, oh yes, I will worship you.
It's worship.
It's like worship.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, just give me what I need. I'll do anything. And yeah, and I mean, the like school was like I don't even think about my future in that moment. It was like, that's not important. All that matters is escaping reality, feeling good right now, and you know,
Instant gratification.
instant
Yeah.
gratification, you know. And yeah, I mean, obviously I thought, oh, I'm in love. And it was, it was, I mean, and he kind of,
How much older than you was he, if you don't mind?
he was, it's a bit creepy. It's a lot creepy. He was 5 years older than me.
Oh my God. Isn't it weird though to sit with that? Like now, I'm sorry, and tell me if you don't want me to discuss this.
It's okay.
But if when you look at it from perspective, when you're older and you look back and you see it, it's horrifying. It's horrifying because everyone around you thinks it's normal as well, and no one's saying other. Well, I'm talking about friends. I don't know about family, but it's normalized, and you rarely believe that you guys are relating on the same level, even though there's a power dynamic
Yeah.
immediately.
Yeah.
Immediately, and there's other words, but carry on.
Yes, no, I completely hear you, and I mean, and I mean, I think where really put things into perspective was you know, I had this psychologist tell me like, okay, if your child was dating somebody 5 years older, like how would you feel? And I was like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then that was like, okay, that wasn't okay.
Yeah, it's not. It's not. And I think our generation specifically never spoke about it. Like there were people going to matric dances to people watching that's like prom, going to prom with people much older than them. I'm talking years out of school while you're still in school. And I mean, that's a form of grooming.
Yeah.
And we for a long time that wasn't discussed because it was normalized with our parents as well. Even if I look at the gauge gap between that generation and you see how big they were, it was so normalized. But there's inevitably a power imbalance.
Power imbalance.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Intellect, it's
Yeah.
emotional imbalance. It's horrible. But I can understand falling for someone deeply like
Yes.
that at 15 years old. I relate.
Yeah, I mean, it was like that was me. I think that was like my drug of choice,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
And yeah, and I mean, we were together for a long time. And like he introduced, obviously he's older, so you know, he introduced me to harder stuff.
You can talk about them the substances. If
Yeah,
you
like no, like what did we like MDMA, like party drugs, like weed. That was
Yeah.
first time. I don't know, but that weed was laced with I don't know what because I was hallucinating, and
It probably was.
It was.
As someone who has experienced that before, and we just discussed it. It probably was.
yeah, no, it was like it was laced with something, and yeah, and I mean, I was like this, like the drugs and this guy's gonna be my solution.
Yeah.
It was my solution to this like discomfort I'd been feeling my entire life, this depression, this whatever, not belonging. It was like, you know, I grabbed onto it with both hands.
Yes.
And it was like, you know, I was like, I'll give you anything, you know, you can have my heart, my body. If I could give you my soul, I'd give you my soul, you know, and I gave him my time, you know, and it was, I think when you're in that like euphoria of this like love, whatever delusion, you can't see anything else. You can't see wrong. You can't see like boundaries crossed or violation or anything like that. It's just no, you're in love. This is what people in love do, and so it became that kind of dynamic, and yeah, I mean, it carried on. I got, I mean, school was like, what?
What was
And
school?
What
No,
was
maybe
school?
it was just like, let me get through, right?
Yes,
Do an
yes.
exam, see what happens. Yeah.
Yeah, and but my focus was this. It was getting high, and it was this guy, and yeah, and I mean, I was really like delusional. I was like, oh, you know, the fairy tales. Oh, we're gonna get married. We're gonna live happily ever after. I'm not gonna be in pain anymore. You know, like this is me. This
He's
is
gonna
what
save
I tell.
me.
He's gonna save
Yeah.
me. You know, and yeah. So like at 19, I fell pregnant.
At 19.
19. I mean, now if I think back, you know, I was a teen mom, you know, and I was so like immature, and I mean, I was a child actually, and I was so scared. I thought like my dad is gonna, you know, culturally, I thought it was like, you're gonna get thrown out on the street. You're gonna be disowned. The community's gonna turn on you.
Yeah.
You know.
People gonna talk. Yeah.
Yes, you know, and so I hid it. I don't know what else to do.
At night. Oh, that breaks my heart. I actually want to cry.
I hid it.
Yeah.
I hid it. And I don't know. I think my parents were like in denial or something. And
If they don't want to see something, they don't
won't
see
see.
something. Yeah.
they won't see it. But eventually, obviously, it came out. And I mean, I was 6 months pregnant then, so
Yeah.
I was having this baby. And I mean, look, I don't regret it at all.
Of course.
I don't regret it at all. You know, but I think what I do want to mention is like, you know, I did like during that pregnancy, you know, because disease wasn't so progressive, so I could stop.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
could
Yeah.
stop. So I stopped during, and I thought, you know, I always was telling myself, when the right situation happens, I'll stop doing drugs. And I thought like having my son, that is reason enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm gonna stop now.
Yeah.
And that's when I realized I couldn't.
Yeah.
That's when I realized, okay, I am addicted.
Yeah.
I am an addict. Because I really wanted, like, after he was born, and I was like, I don't want a couple months. I was like a couple months, and then, you know, all it took was one like, you know, one pill, and you know, I told myself, oh, I'm cured, I'm whatever, it's fine, and all it took was one.
Yeah, because you tell yourself, well, now I can treat myself. I didn't do it for this amount of time. I can manage it. I can do it successfully.
Yeah.
And also, just going through a pregnancy for 6 months on your own, essentially, and hiding that has got to take an immense amount of emotional, like, work and danger and fear and isolation. Was it something you shared with your partner? Well, I don't know, the person you were seeing at the time. So then that's also your little secret, and it's your thing, and it's so scary to be alone at like going through that at 19 years old. Like, I just want to extend like empathy to you, and like there's strength in that. There's a lot of strength in that, and I can understand after giving birth being like, okay, now let me take this. It's a little reward. I'm in a little bit of pain or something. I'm going to take it, and then really figuring out, well, I can't stop from here. And no situation is fixing it right now.
No, you know, and I mean that my partner, he also disappeared. So like I really was alone, you know.
Was that while you were pregnant? Oh, Pavi.
Disappeared. He came back though, but he
and-
disappeared.
Yeah,
He come back.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it was. You know, the thing is, like I'm talking about this, and I'm like, wow, that's actually like a lot of surviving that I had
Yes.
to do, And it's like, but I didn't know any different.
Yeah. You have nothing else to compare it to.
Mm.
I mean, at
Just-
13, you found your coping mechanism.
Yeah. So I mean, it was just, it was, yeah, and I mean, and I think in myself that something had shifted. It wasn't just about me anymore, um, and and so this guy, I mean, he wasn't. Oh my God, yes, he had muscles, but he was a loser.
It was weak. Yeah.
He wasn't working like, and then I just thought, no, I'm gonna go back to school. I'm gonna study. I'm gonna make something of myself for this baby. Um, and that's what I did,
I hope you can applaud yourself for that. Like, you did that.
Well, I tried.
Well, you're doing
I
it now.
tried.
Even then, you tried.
I
You
tried.
tried.
I tried.
Yeah.
I tried, and I went to college, and I did like a little course, um, and then I started seeing this. I actually started seeing this guy for what he is, and I was like, I'm like, you don't buy anything for this child. Like, what are you, And I was like, I don't think I can actually be with you anymore. You know. Yeah, and he didn't like that. And then I saw the other side. Yeah, the other side.
The dangerous side. At 19, 20.
20. Yeah.
I am so sorry, Pavi. I am so sorry. Sorry. No, it breaks my heart because we
Yeah.
don't, like, at such a young age to be in a situation like that, to be so isolated, to be so scared of, you're a people pleaser at this point. You're trying to get through. You're just trying. You're trying, and you love your child and you want to be there, and you went through this pregnancy on your own, and you were seeking some sort of coping mechanism to get through it, and then the person who you were using as some sort of coping mechanism, or someone you wanted to take the pain away, just created more. Just created more for you. And you were young, and I really hope you can acknowledge like how young you were to go through that and get through that. I don't know if it was a domestic abuse or anything, like any kind of side you saw to him, but whatever it is, I hope you know that in every single aspect is not your fault, no matter what. And I know you know that. I know you know that, and you were young. Okay.
Well, thank you for that. So yeah, I mean, look, I don't. It was a horror show. I don't want to go
No, don't,
too much
don't.
into the
Yeah.
but it was bad.
Yeah.
And look, I've done a lot of work, healing from that, and understanding it, and that was part of my recovery. As much as like 12-step was kind of my introduction. I needed extra help after that.
Yes, that's a huge trauma.
Yeah.
That's a massive trauma. We can discuss that as you continue with your story and stuff, because I think a lot of women, a lot of men out there need to hear, like, I don't know what tools you used to get through that, but when we get there, we'll get there. Yeah.
So I mean, look, it's so yeah, and then okay, so obviously that relationship became horror.
Yes.
And I mean, I'm so grateful to my family for supporting me. My dad didn't throw me out. He was like, I'm really, as much as my family have their issues, as all family has, my dad stood by my side.
He saw you.
He did see me.
He saw you.
He stood by me, when family were like, oh, unwed, all of that stuff. He was like, that's my grandson, and I'm gonna defend you. And it's not a horror, it's a blessing, And so he stood by me. My mother also stood by me in her own way. In her
I get
own
it.
way.
I get it.
And they really, so I'm so grateful. I don't know where I would be without them. I don't know where I would be. And they helped raise my son. And I got the help, So that relationship was horrendous, and it ended, and the guy disappeared, which I'm not surprised, because it was his pattern.
Yeah.
And then again, I just tried to again try and make something of myself. This was the first time I realized I have a problem, but I still wasn't at the point of I don't need rehab, you know. 'Cause
And it was still the prescription medication.
yeah.
Yeah.
So what I was doing, so I went to the doctor, just the GP, and I
Mm-hmm.
was like, look, I I need to come off this stuff. Can you give me some medicine to help me with withdrawal? And then he's like, it was the first time rehab was mentioned, and I'm like, rehab? No, 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 it's not that bad.
Yeah, it's legal medication. It's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, I'm like, it's not that bad. Just give me it's just, if I stop that say, if I just stop the drugs, my life will be great. But, the drugs wasn't the problem.
Yeah.
It was the solution. So that's when it was first mentioned, and where I thought I could still control it. And yeah, and I mean, this is where I tried religion, they say you try medicine, religion, all of that.
Yeah.
And I tried religion. I was really trying, to stop. And look, it worked. It worked for about 6 months.
Yeah.
But it became like just another obsession. And I mean, I have a mind which tells me I'm fine, and it's also trying to kill me. So after the 6 months, like you were saying, I've been good. I'm saved.
Yeah.
And I can reward myself. I'm cured now. And then again, that was. So I managed to white knuckle it or whatever, or tried religion for 6 months. But after that, I could not get back. I could not stop until I went into rehab.
Especially something like codeine, and I know it's like it's very similar in terms of the physical and dependency, like heroin, where you can stop for a certain period of time and you using again, but to get that feeling, you using as much as you were previously. I don't know if that's the experience, and that is
Definitely.
so dangerous, especially after 6 months of kind of your body getting used to it, coming out of withdrawals, because withdrawals, I can't imagine how difficult that was, and getting straight back into it and starting from where you were 6 months before. I mean, that has killed people.
Yeah.
And I just really want to acknowledge for people out there, because a lot of people, and I've seen this countless, I can't even explain to you how many times I've seen this, where someone is really struggling with a prescription medication, like really struggling. It is ruling their entire life. It's everything they think about, going to bed, getting the substance, whether it's legal or illegal, forging prescriptions, anything. I've seen it with my own eyes, but it's so difficult for someone who is currently struggling with it to call themselves an addict, because they not there. And I'm not putting this on anyone out there who's seen it. I'm just relaying why it's such a difficult addiction to deal with, is that society sees it as legal. If it's like alcohol, if it's legal and you can get it, it's not that bad. I'm not the same as someone who's doing heroin. I'm not the same as someone on meth. So it's a very difficult, from what I've seen, and please correct me if I'm wrong, it's very difficult for someone who's struggling to admit they're struggling with it, because of how society and medical doctors will perceive that kind of addiction. So it's like, I'm on this pill. It's like, okay, well, this one, so don't take that one, take that one. And it's like just the swap of medication I've seen a lot of people struggle with. So, yeah.
And I mean, I just want to add to that, like how, you really have to educate yourself and be like, you are responsible for your own recovery. You cannot say, oh, because it's a doctor or whatever. You need to make sure, like, when you are getting medication, that they are not giving you codeine, ephedrine, cough mixture with alcohol, benzos, you have to be so careful, because like, doctors don't, I mean, yes, they know, but
They don't know your personal history. They don't know your trauma. They don't know. Yeah.
You can say, I mean, I always say, like, I'm in recovery, but I mean, this doctor, like, gave me cough mixture with alcohol once. And I'm like, what? So you are responsible for your recovery.
I've got a story, and I really like, I have a little different take with it. Like, so I got an infection. This was 2023. I got an infection and I swelled. And I went to the doctor, and I have it in writing. Like, I sent a message, and I was like, please don't give me anything that could mess with my mental health or my recovery or anything like that. And they were like, here is prednisone, which is a normal, it's like a, what's the word? Like a what's the word I'm looking for? That takes that takes swelling down, like
Anti-inflammatory.
no, like it's like a strong one. Okay, it's called prednisone. It'll come corticosteroid. It's a steroid.
Okay.
Sorry. And I took that, and I said, please, like, make sure it's fine. This person didn't tell me that it could affect someone with a pre-existing mental health condition. Even I went into psychosis for 9 months from prednisone. It kept me up for 72 hours straight. Felt like I was back on meth, and I went straight into psychosis. So I know that, like, in a sense, that I did ask the question, and I did say I need help with this. I really do feel a lot more medical professionals should also be a bit more responsible with putting that stuff out there. Like, no matter how many times it was said, it's like I could not even know that was a possibility. And then when I was taken to the hospital, the doctor, I was rushed to the emergency room. I tried to run away. They had to restrain me. It was a whole thing. And the first thing he said was corticosteroid psychosis. And I was like, what is that? And why is this happening? Like, it's so crazy to give a 13-year-old substances and things like that. Like, it's crazy. I get now that we're, in this, we're older, and we're learning, and we know what we can and we cannot take. But sometimes the doctors just don't tell. They just don't.
They don't.
Yeah.
They don't. You have to be so careful.
Yeah. It's terrifying. It's terrifying. Sorry, I went on a whole...
No.
I went on a side quest.
Side quest is awesome. No, but I mean, where was I?
Yeah, where were we? Oh, so the doctor...
gave me detox meds. Yeah, the doctor gave me detox meds.
Oh, yes.
And I thought I could do it on my own, and I couldn't. And I was in active addiction until I hit rock bottom. And so, I'd like, anyway, there is, so, like that relationship ended, but then it's like I have an emptiness, I have a void. So, I just like, if I look at my pattern, it's like I just went from one relationship to the next. And it didn't matter who. It was like, if you give me the time of day, I'm like, I'm there, we in a relationship, because of that like hunger for just being loved,
Yes.
And so I mean, as soon as that relationship ended, I jumped into another one when I was studying, and then I jumped, and then that was I was like a shapeshifter, It's like, and the thing is, like, I like, if there was someone good and kind and wonderful, I'm like, oh, you're boring.
Yeah.
I need a bad boy. So this guy was like, he had cornrows in his hair, he smoked weed, he listened to Bone Thugs. And I was like, yes, you're gonna be the next one. And it just went, and it was horrible. All my relationships were horrible. They were just varying degrees of horror.
Yeah.
And I can laugh about it now. I've just at the ridiculousness of where I was in, and then that ended, and it always became like, when I became focused, and then I got into a relationship, and then I lost my focus. It was like a pattern. It's like I always had to focus on them and become what they want, and I'll be everything you want, and I lost focus on me.
Yes, of course.
And so, by some miracle, I did manage to finish that year, but eventually I dropped out. And I had this thing, like, I think I had such a fear of responsibility, like growing up, that I would like, and now if I think about it, I'm like, wow, I was so like entitled. I'd like tell my dad, like, my dad was helping me, willing to help me get on my feet, and I was like, oh, I don't want to study that anymore, but I think this is it.
I did the same.
Oh my God, so entitled. Oh, and then and I said, no, this is it. But he did like put the boundary, and he was like, this is it. You're gonna make something out of yourself here, And
did they know you were on the medication at this time? They did it. So yes, so you've still got that secret that's just yours, that you're really struggling with, like physically struggling with. Okay.
And I used to I think they just got used to me like sleeping a lot and
Disassociating.
looking.
Yeah.
They just thought that's how I looked, and like for the so again, I don't know. It's a lot of, if I'm thinking about it, it's like this pattern of mine, So then I wasn't in that relationship. Okay, I studied, then I started working, and then I got involved with someone at work. Oh God.
Never get involved.
This pattern of mine, and again, he was much older. So I'm not. I'm just, yeah, definitely daddy issues. I'm not even gonna lie about that, and uh, and yeah, and again, I thought like this guy got his life together. He's got a car. He's got. He's got.
He ticks all the boxes.
Tick tick tick.
Yeah.
Like you seem. It was always like. It's always like I wanted someone to rescue me.
Yes.
To take care of me.
Yes.
So just take care of me. And but it used to swap though. It used to swap like if I felt like I was in a more dominant role in the relationship, then it's like I'm gonna take care of you.
I'm gonna save you. I
I'm
can
gonna
fix
save
you.
Yes, I can fix you. But if the person I'm with is more dominant, then I would be like, take care of me.
Yeah, you take on the role of submissive almost. Yeah.
Yeah, take care of me. And so I did that in that, and I mean, I was so delusional. I was with him for like 4 months, and he was like, I'm moving to another place, Polokwane of all places. And will you come with me? And I was like, yes, I'll come with you.
I'll give everything up.
Yeah, I'll leave my job. I'll be with you. And I did that, and now it's like when I left my son with my parents. Now if I think about it, I'm like, what? And
But that's the addiction to
Yeah.
people, to love, to
love. And so that relationship, obviously they'd be like you're drinking away a bit, way too much, and even though I'm like higher on pills, but I'm judging him for drinking so much. And then I'd be like, oh my God, I think you have a problem. It's like, I was really delusional. And so like, when you're like living with somebody, I think you start seeing things. Now the fantasy, you can't escape to the fantasy anymore, because reality is slapping you
you're
in the
living
face.
in it. Yeah.
And and I mean, he would like drink morning to night. And he would go out and work, and he promised me like, no, I'm gonna get you a job here, and he never did. And then he'd come home and be like, why isn't the house cleaned?
Yeah.
And then I thought, oh, in this relationship, I'm gonna stop doing drugs. I'm gonna stop doing drugs. So I stopped doing drugs. But when the fantasy like started fading, I was like, I'm gonna drink all your alcohol.
Yeah.
and so I realized, and I started drinking alcoholically. So when they say like alcohol is a drug and all of that, like by the time I got into rehab, I'm like, I know I'm an alcoholic.
Yeah.
I know I've tried. When I put down the drugs, I picked up the alcohol, and I drank alcoholically.
Yeah.
For that period, and then eventually I just went back. I just found a pharmacy, and I went back to my drug
Were you
of
mixing
choice.
the pills with the alcohol?
I was the mix, like
Yeah.
danger. Now if I think
Dangerous.
I was on antidepressants because of my drugs. I was taking pills, the sleeping tablets, benzos, alcohol.
I just want everyone out there to
Cocktail.
know, how dangerous that is, especially for your heart. So if you're mixing an upper and a downer, you're slowing and speeding your heart rate up even at the same time. That can literally lead to complete, like your heart can give up. And it's such a dangerous thing. And when we're in those patterns, I don't know if you felt this, but I was indestructible. And you know what? If I was going to die, I was going to die. Like I didn't think I would, because I would look at other people around me and be like, well, that person's not dead yet, so I'm cool. Like I'm not as bad as. Then they die. And then I'd be like, fuck. Well, I'm not scared of death. Just constant like lies to myself to think how indestructible I am. And you don't think about how dangerous that is for you. Like blacking out, forgetting things. I can't imagine. Like just real dangerous situations. And alone, were you in Polokwane at the time? Like literally, again, isolated.
I was alone.
Isolated, yeah.
Yeah, but my partner was an alcoholic.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I had no one. Again, isolation. And I don't know. It was like I reached a point. You know, like when they say, "I'm never gonna cross this line. I'm never gonna take harder stuff." You know, and like he was actually the one that was told me, like, you know, he tried meetings and he kind of like told me about, yeah, I tried to stop, like he had a, you know, drug problem, cocaine problem, and then and then I was like, yeah, I want to try cocaine.
Hey, I had this big issue with the substance. Can I try?
Yeah, like, hey, like, can you get it fast?
Yeah.
You know, and it was just like I just didn't care anymore.
Yeah.
You cross this invisible line of I'll never do that, I'll never put it up my nose, I'll never whatever, and you cross that line. You cross the line. And yeah, and so that started happening, and then I just started partying. I'm like, you know what? Again, so selfish and self-centered. Instead of like raising my child, I'm like, this child has ruined my youth. You know, I'm gonna go and party. You know, so like that's what I would do, you know, with this boyfriend of mine. We'd go clubbing. He'd get party drugs, and I loved it.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved it.
Because it is enjoyable in the beginning.
Yeah.
You know, it's that solution.
Yeah, I was like, I loved it more than I loved my prescription, my painkillers, which were always there in the background. So, yeah, and it was getting dark. Like there was,
You know, you talk about the
darkness.
crossing the invisible line with substance. There's a million behavioral lines in addiction I didn't think I would cross that I kept crossing. And then it gets so dark that there's a lot of guilt, a lot of shame around the certain behaviors I did, and mine were particularly around, and I don't mind saying this, was sex, sex, drugs, rock and roll, like all that kind of stuff. Things I never thought I would do, I did, and then some. And then it became like I just lost all kind of like my moral compass shifted a lot, and it was I just kept crossing and crossing and crossing, and then as soon as I would come down, then the guilt and the shame would be amplified the next day, and then it's like, well, I'll do more to get through it. Then I do something else, I cross another line, and then there's amplified guilt and shame on the come down with more trauma built in on top of it, and it's like this constant cycle of trying to numb it.
Yeah, so I mean, that was the cycle, you know, and I mean, obviously like in addiction, and you know, on the scale, like with the dopamine and all of that, it's like the higher the dopamine hit, the lower the come down will be.
Yes.
And so I was on pills, I was taking cat MDMA, whatever, high, all at the same time. The come down was like I was like suicidal. I was like suicidal. But then you just needed more.
Yeah. It's literal hell. Yeah.
I just need another pill. I just need another thing that's gonna fix it.
Yeah.
Right. And so, you know, in that time, I'm not being safe. You know, I wasn't like sleeping around or anything like that. But I was with my boyfriend, and then I got pregnant again. You know, and how old I was this time? I was 25, and it was, I don't know how it happened, because it like I was just on so much of drugs, but it happened. Yeah, it did happen. I don't know. It's like makes you more fertile or something away. I don't know. And anyway, so I don't know. It's like I don't know what it is.
Makes you more fertile. It's great, but it does. I swear.
It does. It's like the body's like, okay, this body's not gonna last. Let's get it pregnant.
Mine was like, I'm missing half my cervix because of active addiction. Mine went the opposite way. It was like, no, you're gonna get cervical cancer cells, and we're gonna have to remove half your cervix because of your behavior.
Yes. No. I don't know. So again, it's like as I'm telling my story, you can see that there's a pattern.
Yes.
There's a pattern of not only one addiction, multiple addictions, trauma, big T trauma, small T trauma. It kind of like when you're in that lifestyle, it opens the door for bad things to
More
happen.
trauma. Yeah.
It's like you're attracted. You're attracted to it, and like you're not safe. You're going to dangerous places. You're doing illegal things. You don't give a damn. And yeah, so one of those was, I got pregnant and I didn't want to. I told him, I said, I'm not having an abortion. I'm not doing that. And again, it was like thinking the cycle, thinking like, okay, maybe a baby is gonna stop.
Yeah.
Maybe it's gonna stop. Maybe this will stop.
Yeah.
Maybe this time it will be enough. And again, it's the same pattern. Like a pregnant, then I went back to my parents' place, and this guy I'd see him once a month.
Yeah.
I'd see him, at least he used to take me to the gynecologist. So I'd see him once a month, and he'd take me to the gynecologist.
Bare minimum.
Yeah. And so, and that's again, lonely, pregnant, young, don't know what the hell is going on. And yeah, I had a very, very like traumatic pregnancy as well. I was like really depressed.
I can imagine.
I was so depressed. And I felt so guilty for being depressed because it's like I have this baby. Is she feeling what I'm feeling? I feel so guilty. I'm supposed to be happy. I'm not happy. Like, what the fuck? And yeah, it was just things got darker. It progresses. It never gets better. It got darker. If I had to compare the last pregnancy to that one, it was like just darkness, and I went into early labor
Oh, wow.
at 8 months.
Wow, Pavi.
Yeah, and so I was having, I had complications. So I went into hospital for surgery, and then while I was in the hospital for that surgery, my water broke.
Yeah.
Because I think I don't know.
At least you were in the hospital.
Yes,
My
I
God.
was in the hospital.
Yeah.
So they were like, okay, this is 10 hours later, this baby's coming, right? And I had to have emergency C's. It was so traumatic. I couldn't sleep, and, it was just, all I could think about was, I need to get drugs,
Yeah.
I need to get drugs.
Especially
to
in
deal
a
with this.
situation like that. Yeah.
And then, and then it was just, so thankfully, by the grace of God, I had my daughter, and she wasn't underweight. She was beautiful, and it was relatively smooth. Like she was in prenatal. Thankfully, again, my parents. I was on medical aid, so I got like good care, and so did my daughter, and so she was in prenatal unit for a month, but she started. She was like reaching her milestones. I didn't know, like the 9th month they learn how to suckle, so she couldn't suckle. They learned that in the 9th month. I don't know any of this, and so they were feeding her with a tube, but she was growing, there was very little complications, and she came out on Christmas Day.
Aww.
And it was such a nice Christmas present, and and but again, it's but during that period, something I also want to share is I went through what is called
Prenatal.
prenatal depression, and also prenatal psychosis.
So that was before birth.
That was after.
After. So post-nate. Yeah. Sorry, I don't know the terms. I
was actually grateful my daughter was in in the hospital because I was losing
I
my
didn't
mind.
even know that there was postnatal psychosis. And do you think that had something to do with the amount of medication you had been taking before, or is that something just literally medical?
Um, I'm actually not sure,
Yeah.
because I have a friend who in recovery, not on meds, went through the same thing, and uh, it's like I think if you have trauma,
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
it's trauma. I really think it's trauma, and and so yeah, during that period was actually good that I didn't have the baby with me because I was losing my mind.
Thank you for sharing that. I think a lot of moms need to hear that, people experience this, and not many people, only recently people have started speaking about it, and there's no shame, there's no guilt that should be associated with that. That is a reaction your body and your mind is having to an event that's life-changing. And thank you for sharing that. I know a lot of people out there are going to relate to that.
Yes, so I mean, I think I've got on the right meds. I couldn't, I couldn't function, so I really needed to take the meds. And obviously I couldn't breastfeed and stuff after that, but I needed to. Even in that crazy state, I was like, I have to be stable in order to look after this baby. So yeah, so thankfully that month I did get like stabilized when she came out. So when she came out, I was like stabilized, and I'm so grateful. My grandmother was with me, and she really helped me
Oh, that's beautiful.
during that period. Yeah, and and then he was trying. He was trying. It's his first child, and he also wanted to stop his nonsense. So he tried stopping before me, and then I also really wanted to stop, but in my dysfunction, and this is actually leading up to my rock bottom. So even though like I had all these kids and stuff, I think if I didn't have them, I wouldn't have hit this rock bottom and probably would have been dead.
Yeah.
Right. So that's why like my kids are like, yes, they were born not in the picture perfect situation, but I think if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be
Yeah.
clean and I wouldn't be alive. So yeah, so my daughter came out, and I mean, I continued in my active addiction, but I stopped the hard stuff. I stopped the hard stuff, but I continued, because it was better,
Because it was legal.
because it was legal.
Yeah.
I needed something, and then I carried on with the painkillers and stuff. And I mean, they were like scary situations. And then I realized, you know what, I actually can't be with this guy. We both in active addiction. The responsible thing to do is move out and go back to my parents, because
Yeah.
we can't do this. That was the best decision I could make at that time.
Yeah.
With no program and no nothing.
Yeah.
That was, and I'm really glad I did,
Yeah.
because I needed the help. And they helped me. I'll forever be in gratitude for my parents, and yeah. Then I just carried on. If I
Just
think
in a
about
different
it.
environment.
Yeah, I just carried. I really tried though. I don't want to say like It's like, and this is the craziness, right? I didn't eat, I didn't sleep, but I'd make sure I'd feed the baby, I'd bath the baby, I'd change the baby, but I couldn't even look after myself.
I understand.
I really tried.
I like that you can acknowledge that about yourself.
I really did try.
Okay, so we were at the part, Pav, where you started sharing about the rock bottom and what kind of got you into recovery. So do you want to take us through that?
Yes. Okay, so yeah, where I left off was, continued with my active addiction. I tried to be a mother and failed,
Yeah.
but I at least had,
I hate that word failed. Sorry. Yeah.
okay, not failed.
Yeah.
didn't do it correctly.
Yeah.
But it was the best I could do at the time. You know, I'm like, I knew I can't do this, but let me give this to my mother, and because my baby will be safe with her. You know, and I mean, I was there, but I was like in active addiction, and so I mean, and then I you know, like as addicts we like blame people. So
Yeah.
I was like, oh, it's this guy's fault. I always blamed people. You know, I blamed everyone around me. I was victim of life. I mean, I was
Thank you.
victimized
Yeah.
sometimes, a lot of the time. But as an addict, I played that card to kind of manipulate and get what I want.
I went from victim to victimizer a lot. It would go like that. It doesn't take away the actual the things you were a victim of, but I think it's important to acknowledge that. So thank you for acknowledging that. Yeah.
No, absolutely. You know, so yeah, and in my mind, it was everyone else's fault. I was a victim of the world, and I needed to use, and this like continued, and I still went to that same same doctor, and he still gave me, and I just had like copious and copious and copious amounts, and I knew, like I could feel my body was dying,
Yeah.
like you know, it was scary, like I mean the way how like tolerant I became. Like I would take like 20 pills in one go.
My God.
In
Yeah.
one go. Like a normal person would OD on that.
Yes. Yes.
But that was my routine, like 20 morning, afternoon, evening.
Pavi, I don't know how you're alive.
I
You're
don't
alive,
know
bro.
either, you know, and yes, it was, you know, I was 25. I didn't eat. I didn't sleep. I mean, I slept, but then I was awake
Yes.
the whole night like
Yes.
a vampire. The only time I went out was to kind of like get my drugs, you know. I mean, it was like I was like a rock like bottom addict, you
Yeah.
know. If my parents didn't take me in, I would probably be on the street trying to hustle, because I had no job, I had no money, I had no, you know, I had nothing.
Yeah.
I had nothing.
Connection.
I didn't do anything with my life, because the guy would be like my job, and I pour myself into that, and like I never poured anything into myself.
Yeah.
You know, and in the back of my mind, it's like I have this kid, so that guilt used to just eat me, like I don't want my kids to go through what I went through.
Yeah.
You know, and I could see that happening,
Mm.
and it just ate me alive. But what did I do? I just carried on using, and then I felt like I felt like I'm dying now, and like my hair was falling out. I lost so much of weight.
Irregular heartbeat, I would assume. All that
Yeah,
kind of
like
stuff.
you
Yeah.
know, like lucid. It's scary. I mean, I wasn't scared back then. I was just delusional, I think, and it got to a point. So you know, they say you get to a point where the drugs stop working.
Yes.
The drugs stopped working.
Yes.
They stopped taking away the pain. They stopped doing what I wanted them to do.
They stop numbing. There's
They
only
stop
so much
numbing.
numbing a person can take.
It turned on me. My best friend, the drugs, it turned on me. And I remember, like, I just remember, like, being in darkness. It wasn't just night darkness, it was darkness. What do they say? The dark night of the soul, or something like that. And I was just sitting, and I just started sobbing and sobbing and sobbing, and I didn't believe in anything at that point, you know. I was like, I don't believe in anything, but I cried out in that moment, like I just want to die, you know.
I know.
Just want to die. I can't go on like this. I just want to die. And now in hindsight, I realize that I did get a death. It was death of the old way of life. And in that moment, it was my first surrender, that I could not do this anymore. And the miracle that happened was as soon as I did that, things just started, in the recovery they say it's not coincidence, it's God incidences. And so that's that my daughter's father, who had spoken about meetings and stuff.
Yes.
This thought just popped into my head when he called me, because I was being weird. I was like throwing out passive aggressive messages, like quoting Kurt Cobain.
I know all those quotes.
Yes.
What was it? Love me for who I am. Okay, yeah, it'll come to me. Hate me for.
Yeah, all of those. That's what I would do.
Yes.
And he was like, what? He was trying to get clean that time. And then he called me and he's like, what the hell? What's going on? I said, take me to a meeting. That wasn't my thought, but it was placed in there.
You just said it. Just said it.
I just said it. And he's like, okay, I'll take you. And then I went to
a 12-step.
It was a 12-step. It was an NA meeting on a Saturday, just for today. And I mean, like, I was like, I felt like a leper, I was like, I hadn't showered, like, then I did shower, and then I went there, and I went to that meeting, and I don't know what I spoke. I spoke a whole lot of nonsense, but I think the first honest thing I ever said was, hi, my name is Pavi, and I'm an addict.
Yes.
It was truthful. And so during the break, a lady came up to me and hugged me, and I was so like taken aback. I was like, you're hugging me, do you know what I've done?
Yeah.
Do you know what I am? I just hated myself. And she hugged me, and then she was like, did you use today? And I'm like, I did. And normally I wouldn't have spoken the truth, but I was just so sick and tired of being sick and tired and sick of my lies. And I was just sick. And I was like, I used enough to keep the withdrawals away, because I really do want to stop, And it was at a rehab. That meeting was at a rehab.
Okay.
And she was like, can you book yourself in here? And I'm like, I don't know. Let me ask my parents, And I mean, I was like, that gift of desperation,
yes.
they say. Before, like, when I was trying to do it on my own and telling the doctor, I don't need rehab, but this time I'm like, I need rehab.
Yeah.
I need something. And so I told my parents, and they were like, we were just waiting for you to come to us. They definitely knew I had a problem. But they didn't like force or rescue or enable. I mean, they gave me a place to stay.
They just kept you safe.
They kept me safe.
Yeah.
And
a lot of people don't get that. That's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like my father's like, you will always have a place to stay.
Yeah.
And even though like I was like stealing from him, it was terrible, but he still didn't throw me out. And for that I'll forever be grateful. And I said, I think I need to go into this place. And then I booked in. And and again I was honest. It was a 12-step rehab. And I think the rude awakening that I got was when they like put me on the detox meds, because I was like, oh, it's just painkillers, it's just whatever. And they were giving me the same detox meds they give heroin addicts.
Exactly. And that's what I need people to hear,
So they put me on the same detox meds as a heroin addict. And I was like, okay, this is
serious.
This is serious. This is bad. And yeah, but it was the first time I actually felt safe.
Yeah.
It was like, I know a lot of people, they don't like rehab.
I loved rehab.
I loved rehab.
I went to 3. I loved it so much.
I loved it. I loved it. It was just like,